Folks, I have some phenomenal news. Tremendous, bigly news. In fact, Bernie won Iowa. Bernie won Iowa. Bring it. Now, come on. No. Let's enjoy. Finally, as the dust settles, after all this bullshit gets run through, we finally see it unequivocally. He won Iowa. He came out 6,000 votes in the lead during first ballot, 2,500 votes in the lead during second ballot. He is presently, if I recall correctly, tied for appointed delegates, and Pete leads him slightly on, what's the other term? Special delegates? Substitute delegates? I forget the term. Caucuses are so complicated. But it seems that right now there are a number of irregularities that the Sanders campaign has corroborated with polling agencies that, once resolved, will put him in the lead with the state delegate equivalents as well. Yes, the SDEs. Thank you, the state delegate equivalents. Oh, he's 13-12 now? Is he 13-12 now? Is he actually ahead on the actual delegates? He's 13-12 now? Oh, see, I get it, 13-12. Oh, Pete has 13. Pete has 13. Okay, I see. Not tied anymore then. My apologies for that. Here, hold on. Iowa caucus delegates. But there's one more delegate left. The process that we find, that we have been navigating throughout all of this, has been unbelievably complicated. I'm going to try and summarize this as quickly as I can. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. The intricacies of the caucus system are so unbelievably asinine and what's the name of that one author? What's the name of the one author? Come on. He writes books that are supposed to satirize the intricacies of bureaucracy. Kafkaesque. Thank you. Yes. So I'm going to speak in this super quickly, okay? The basic gist of what happened is, so in caucuses, you have a bunch of different caucus sites all over the fucking state, as long with satellite ones that are outside of the state as well. And you go there and people, make a choice for who they want to support. And then if you get less than 15% of the total number of people there for a given candidate, those people are annulled and they have to go and find another candidate to support. And there are state delegate equivalents. And sometimes those get piled up and you have to do a coin flip. And sometimes the coin flip keeps coincidentally landing on Pete and sometimes it doesn't. And then you have the major state delegates and just whew. What an unbelievable fucking mess. At the end, as the smoke is settled, and so much has happened, what seems to have happened, and this is my take, and this is just my opinion, okay? This is just my personal heart opinion, right here, okay? This is what I've got going on in my chest. Here's my opinion. Bernie did well in Iowa. Buttigieg did well in Iowa too, undeniably. He outperformed, he exceeded expectations. I don't think there's any denying that. Both of them did very well. The app that was meant to count the votes failed, obviously. Little, shadow app, little weird there, created by people who were fans of Pete and people who used to work for the Sanders campaign. What are you going to do? App failed, system fails. Everyone's trying to scramble, collect votes, try to figure out what went on. Oh, look at that. Turns out, hey, there are a bunch of irregularities. Actually, an astonishing number of irregularities. So many irregularities, in fact, in the difference between the state DNC's postings of the results and the actual caucus leaders' postings of the results, that, did I say Sanders campaign? I meant Clinton campaign. My apologies, folks. Clinton campaign, not former. You really think that people who worked for the 2016 Sanders campaign would ever be put in a position of relevance over anything DNC related? Ha! Fill in the blanks. I love you guys. Clinton campaign. Whatever the case may be. A startling number of irregularities between what was posted by the caucus and what was posted by the state DNC, to the point where people on Twitter were pointing out that there were literally like hundreds or thousands of votes being shuffled around between candidates. One place, for example, where Sanders had, I'm spitballing here, because this happened more than once, 2,000 votes for Sanders and 1,000 votes for Buttigieg. Then, you blink and the reported numbers are 1,400 votes for Buttigieg, for Sanders, 1,000 for Buttigieg, and 600 for Steyer, for example. There have been a shocking number of irregularities, and to be perfectly honest, many of these irregularities were to be expected. The caucus system has always been incredibly asinine and complicated and outdated. It's entirely possible that all caucuses up until this point have been this sketchy, and we just didn't know because we didn't have this level of transparency, because we didn't have people on the ground with their own backup app, with their own fucking smartphones taking pictures of everything, making sure that all the coin flicks looked legit, making sure that all the data being posted was accurate relative to all the so on and so forth, you know. We move on and we move on, and eventually, you know, the DNC actually starts posting some of the data because originally, you know, the app failed. We get up to 62% of the total number of votes counted in the state being posted, and things look like a win for Buttigieg. A fairly decent win for Buttigieg as well. And Buttigieg declares victory, even though all the votes haven't been counted. You know, the media jerks off his victory. Buttigieg, surprising, you know, victory, what have you. But his victory is tainted by the fact that the Iowa caucus isn't over. The votes haven't actually been fully counted yet. And we keep moving through, and as we count more and more and more of the votes, and as more and more and more of the irregularities are accounted for, Sanders gets closer and closer and closer and closer until, you know, we're at the current position we're at. We're now what was his name? The person, the DNC primary official who wants to actually do a re-caucus of the Tom Perez. Yeah. Tom Perez, an unfathomably historic decision. A recanvass of the vote, a recounting, going all the way back to the base data and running it through all the way again. He wants to do this 3-4 days after the fucking Iowa caucus. There was a fantastic tweet that I saw, a fantastic tweet. It was something along the lines of, fuck, what was it? It was, Bernie has a great shot in New Hampshire, and if he leads strong, the momentum might be able to carry him through to win the Iowa caucus. What a nightmare. What an absolute shit show. If there was any good to be taken from this horror show, it's that we might never have an Iowa caucus again. And thank God for that. Thank God for that. Now again, I want to be really, really clear about this. The specifics of the caucus politics are actually more complicated than I understand. And if I speak extensively on it, I am going to embarrass myself because it is very complicated. I've seen people go into all the details. It's not incomprehensible, though they're definitely trying with how they design the system. It's just long and complicated and boring, and I don't take notes, you know? But there are some big pointers that I want to come away from with this, okay? Now, the Bernie Sanders campaign has declared victory. We can take a look at that right now. Senator Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign on Thursday celebrated winning the popular vote in the first and second round of the Iowa caucus and released publicly. This is king shit, by the way. This is big dick shit. Released publicly discrepancies in the state delegate equivalent data it submitted to the Iowa Democratic Party. See, it's a little weird there that Bernie Sanders won the popular vote in the first and second rounds and somehow has less state delegate equivalents and fewer actual state delegates. It's a little weird there, kind of a little funny. The numbers always sort of shifting away from the interests of the non-establishment candidate. Tonight's release of data by the Iowa Democratic Party confirms Senator Bernie Sanders won the Iowa caucus, his advisor Jeff Weaver said. We also feel confident that the discrepancies we're providing tonight, in addition to those widely identified in the national media, means that the SDE count will never be known with any kind of certainty. This is an unacceptable level of incompetence, just so you guys know. The idea that a caucus can take place, and there is so much contention over the actual results that it may never be known who really won or what the actual outcome was. This is unfathomable. This is unbelievable to me. The Democratic Party threw themselves on a sword and made the entire party look incompetent. Now, Sanders is saying, or I should say Sanders' campaign is saying, that they won because A, they got the popular vote, which is true, and B, once you account for certain discrepancies that have been identified in the process, he will win with delegates as well. And I consider that a victory. I consider that a complete victory, you know? And I'm happy about it. But to be a little more suspect here, I just want to say this completely frankly. We are going to get rat fucked in every single state in this fucking primary. This is step one, okay? This is step one. What did they do in Iowa? We had an app failure. We had a legendary collection of inconsistencies and discrepancies in vote reporting that were only addressed because they fucking went viral on Twitter. The only reason any of this shit was pointed out was because we have insanely... Anytime people tell you, ooh, conspiratorial Bernie bro, you're just like the fucking pizza gators. Nah, fuck you. If it weren't for people like me and people like them, us crazy Bernie bros, none of these discrepancies would have been caught. None of them. Crazy Bernie gets his own app to record separately the vote counts for each of the constituencies. Oh, turns out that data is super useful because the DNC fucking shit the bed. And coincidentally, a way that benefited Pete Buttigieg. Interesting. Crazy Bernie Sanders supporters going over all the numbers saying the DNC is rigging the... Oh, hundreds of inconsistencies that statistically favor one candidate over another. And you believe you me, the favored candidate was not Sanders. Interesting. It's almost as though a conspiratorial, not a mindset necessarily, but a willingness to recognize that the powers that be are willing to fuck you over for, hey, contention over the most powerful, a seat in the planet, actually helps you recognize when you're getting fucked. This is something that people understand in every other instance. Even fucking woke shit libs recognize this. When we see historic numbers of young black men being incarcerated for, I don't fucking know, smoking weed or whatever, we recognize, even libs will recognize, even Warren supporters will recognize, hey, you know, maybe there's something funky going on here. It's been proven that there are discrepancies in justice and sentencing for people, you know, based on their race. It's been proven that there are biases against people of color in the justice system. We should be credulous of data that comes out of this process, not ignore it completely, but recognize that there are reasons why initial data postings might be biased against certain people. And then we say, hey, you know, Bernie Sanders too. And they're like, damn, man, crazy Bernie bros, conspiracy bros at it again. You're basically just like Alex Jones, my man. This is a lizard people conspiracy. What? You're telling me that after doing it in 2016, the DNC, which is largely run by Clinton loyalists and Clinton herself, who hates Bernie Sanders, would then, you know, organize in a way to sort of bias the results against one of the most radical candidates that's ever been put forward and a legitimate chance to win the presidency through the DNC? You really think that would happen? You think they would just do that? They would, you know, put their thumb on the scale, which they're completely legally allowed to do, to ensure that the candidate that they want becomes the most powerful person on the planet? You really think they would do that? Well, yeah, of course they would do that. Who the fuck wouldn't do that? Of course, the DNC is a private entity. It has a legal right to bias the results of its primary. This was settled in a court case after the 2016 election. They have a legal right to do that. And so of course they're going to fucking do that. The only reason they wouldn't do that is if they thought that the people responsible for it would be arrested. But they're not going to be, because it's a private organ. They can put forward any candidate they want. If the DNC wanted to, they could literally just throw their arms up and say, we will be putting Buttigieg forward as the candidate. We will be putting Biden forward as the candidate. They can literally do that. That's not illegal. Did you guys know that? Did you know that? They can do that. They could do it. They could just rewrite the rules. They could just be like, hey guys, we're actually not having a primary system, you know? If you want, you can vote for Warren or Bernie as an independent. But, you know, we, the Democratic Party, will just be putting forward Biden. And that would be a horrible decision for a wide variety of reasons. It'd be political suicide. They would never do it. But they can do it. They could do that if they wanted to, you know. That's totally within their legal right. Now, the reason I'm saying this isn't just so we can have a little victory lap. And I think we've earned a victory lap, by the way, because in spite of all of this fuckery, Bernie did really, really well in Iowa. And hey, guys, have you checked the betting odds lately? Guys, man, oh man, guys, you want the opposite of a black pill today? Is that what you're looking for? Do you want a little bit of optimism in your cup as a treat? These are the betting odds for the primary candidate for the Democratic Party. The real victory, the true victory from the Iowa caucus is what happened to Biden. Biden fucking died. Biden is now dead. He is dead now. He is gone. Biden is dead now. He's dead in real life. It's very unfortunate. So sad. Corn popping in heaven, you know? He's dead. Look at that drop. That is insane. That is in-fucking-sane. Bernie Sanders is now far and away the top of the line. You can look. This isn't just RCP, by the way. 538, you know, big data boys over here feel similarly. Our forecast now gives Sanders about a 1 in 2 chance of winning a majority of pledged delegates. That would mean first round of votes. That would mean before the superdelegates even get involved, Bernie Sanders wins the presidency without even superdelegates being involved. The second likeliest outcome, a 1 in 4 chance, is that no candidate wins a majority. After that, the next strongest candidate is Joe Biden. And then all the other candidates sort of trickle down way behind that. We should be happy about these results. We should be happy about these results. Because while Iowa was a shit show, up until Iowa, the real competition was between Biden and Bernie. And maybe we'd get like dark horse with Bloomberg, and Warren and Buttigieg will pull votes away from both groups until they eventually bend the knee and join the primary candidates. But it seemed like it was between Bernie and Biden. And now, Biden is dead. Meaning that, as large candidates go, Bernie Sanders currently stands in the lead by a hefty margin. Rest in peace, Biden. Now, before I wrap this up, and again, there are going to be people who are talking about the Iowa caucus for decades. This is a historic event that we've watched play out live. It's interesting watching history play out in front of you, because you can imagine, you know, how is this going to be spoken of in the future? I can imagine, at least. I can imagine the history books that talk about the legendary incompetence of the 2020 Iowa caucus and how it led to a restructuring of the broader system. I can imagine that very, very easily. Hopefully, we never see an Iowa caucus again. It is a horrible system, horrible fucking system, incredibly undemocratic. But there is another, you know, little bit of fun we can enjoy here. A little black pill to tune things off. Here, folks, watch a video with me, will you? Are you ready? We will be watching somebody literally filming their TV for this. It's great, you know, great way to avoid copyright.
Very strong victory they gave us at the Iowa caucuses on Monday night. Some 6,000 more Iowans came out on caucus night to support our candidacy than the candidacy of anyone else. And when 6,000 more people come out for you in an election than your nearest opponent, we here in northern New England call that a victory.
Of course, there's a beautiful parallel here from that famous Pete Buttigieg quote. You know, what was it? Where I come from, getting more votes in an election means you win the election. And he was saying this in reference to the 2016 general. Just funny.
I can't find that. Who called it? It's not on my. Didn't he tie with Mayor Pete, like the 37-year-old, not even anymore mayor?
Well, and you know what's sad? Not to tar him with the same brush, but I mean that how he's disingenuous, to say the least. He's not telling the truth. I mean, part of the problem with Iowa was, and everything we've learned about elections since 2000 is, what do you want to do? Simplify, simplify, simplify. What did the Iowa do in the caucuses? They made it more complex. They had 3 different metrics. So what Bernie is doing is counting that first metric of people who came in that night willing to support Bernie, but many of whom switched to Mayor Pete. Mayor Pete, my heart goes out to him because having covered many Iowa caucuses and looked for that headline at 11 o'clock or midnight, he would have gotten these incredible headlines, the same headlines that Barack Obama had in 2008.
These snaky rats, these absolute pieces of shit, let Buttigieg run with a victory narrative for 3 days on an uncounted caucus with known discrepancies. And now, then more info is coming in that Sanders and Sanders' campaign has posted evidence that not only, well, this isn't their numbers, everyone agrees, not only did they get the vast majority of votes, or they got, you know, far in the lead, it was by no means close in that regard. Not only that, but after discrepancies are accounted for, that they get more SDEs. And now MSNBC steps in to say, well, hey, Bernie, you're being disingenuous. Don't you think it's a little bit mean to Buttigieg that you're not giving him the clean victory narrative from the 62% results that he already enjoyed for 3 days and is completely invalid given new data that has come in? MSDNC, folks. This truly is fucking disgusting. I understand if you're going for like full-fledged consistency, if you want to be 100% completely consistent and accurate with no discrepancies, then you would say nobody declares victory until all the votes and discrepancies are settled in Iowa. But they didn't fucking do that in MSNBC, did they? No, we run with pro-Pete. Oh, Pete did so great. Pete wins Iowa, folks! Pete, declares his victory. Let's go with that. Let's make it look great. And then, more data comes out. Whoops. Ooh, oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. It looks like Bernie did better than you thought. Oh, no. And now when Bernie, with better data, declares victory by a better margin than Pete did back with the 62% period, MSNBC, damn, Bernie's really going to do that? Just steal the narrative back from Pete? No. And this is why, and this is the most important thing that we're going to leave on, okay? This is far more important than anything else, infinitely more important than anything else I've said today. Don't get complacent. Do not get complacent. Pete got a large bump in New Hampshire off of the rat fuckery that took place in Iowa. Do not stop donating. Do not stop canvassing. Everything that I have said about calling, about phone banking, about text banking, about doing IRL canvassing applies double time to New Hampshire, triple time to Nevada, okay? Quadruple time to South Carolina, all right? Texas, California, New York. Imagine we're 100 points down, okay? Imagine that Bernie is pulling in the negative percentiles somehow, okay? There are people outside of the country who are also saying that they don't want Bernie Sanders to be president. Do not stop, okay? Because this is the best chance that the country has ever had. This, seriously, you can look in American history, presidential candidates, the radicals usually, what do we get? 6, 7, 8%. We get some promising independents. This is a front runner, because that's what Bernie is right now, the front runner candidate in the Democratic election. and he is a socialist. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking, because we got a lot of orthodox Marxists here. Oh, he's not really a socialist. No, the policies he advocates for are democratic, social democracy, not democratic socialism. However, I, in my heart of hearts, do believe that Bernie Sanders is a socialist. If you look through his history, it seems pretty unmistakable, his general ideological alignments. And while he cannot bring about socialism himself, he can move us in that direction, unquestionably. Wants to bolster union membership. He wants collective partial ownership of firms by the workers. I mean, this is literally like he's trying to edge. He's literally doing just the tip with socialism to America. America, okay, hot broad, laying down on the bed. Huge titties, okay, massive boobies, giant, just enormous gahonkas, okay? And the pussy is right in front of Bernie, and she's like, I'm not on birth control, Bernie. I don't know if we should have sex. And Bernie's infertile because Bernie's like 100 years old. But Bernie says, hey, baby, it's okay. I get it. Just a tip. And by tipping, by tipping Milady, he does... this is rape. It's not rape if she says yet. Fuck you. All right, you ruined the analogy. Fuck. Anyway, just the tip. He's socialism. Just okay. Listen, just go. Just go. Just the tip. Tipping. All right, there we go. How much of a tip does he leave her? I mean, Bernie has an enormous penis, so I assume that it would be a large tip. Yeah, everyone, weird champ chat. Okay, chat ruined it. If any of you people didn't do just the tip when you were 13 years old. You're all this is classic. Because the reason that you do just the tip, both of you want to fuck. You're just trying to mitigate your own teenage hormones. That's why the just the tip thing happens. Virgin shaming? Fuck you. I'm pretty sure my chat is all virgins. I'm a virgin, you insensitive ass. Holy shit! We are so off topic right now. Listen, all of you are virgins, okay? Everyone here is a virgin except for me and my girlfriend, who I know is in chat, okay? See, look, according to this, every single one of you round up. Yeah, exactly. How can any of you be virgins after the DNC has fucked all of us so hard? This is a lie, by the way. There's no fucking way 55% of you are virgins. That can't possibly be true. All of you just said yes because you're trying to play to the narrative. Fuck all of you guys. Can we focus on the goddamn point? Listen, the goddamn point is, don't give up. Bernie Sanders can be our presidential candidate in the general election, where he stands a fantastic chance of going up against and beating Donald Trump. Vosh isn't just the tip kind of rapey. No, if they both want the tip. The point is that the just the tip thing is when there's a mutual hesitance to have sex, but then the person with the penis is like, well, what if I just put the tip in? And the person who's going to get fucked wants to be fucked, but they're doing a compromise because they're trying to like it's like they're like, oh, I'm embarrassed to have sex, but okay, it's just the tip thing. All right, okay. How long does it take before your virginity grows back? Depends on how much time you spend at v.gg. If you spend more time, it grows back much, much faster. You made a map compiling average 538 projections of the primaries. Chance of a brokered convention is massive, but so is Bernie's lead. Hey, nice. What are we looking at here? Is Sanders really? What is this, math? How does this work? I think this is math. I don't know how to do... Here, we'll make this blue too. There we go. There we go. We fixed it. We fixed it. Bernie wins. Bernie wins, boys. Every state, Jeb. Bernie wins. It's a landslide. He took it across the board. There was never even a chance for the other guys.